America was surging forward at an unprecedented pace, a nation on the cusp of greatness. The titans of industry, capitalist giants, were amassing fortunes that dwarfed imagination, their wealth measured in billions, enough to rival entire economies. Railroads crisscrossed the land, stitching the east to the west, delivering goods with breathtaking speed. Oil lit up homes, casting out the darkness with clean, safe light, a marvel that felt almost magical. But let's be real, the marketplace was a battlefield. Even if you weren't selling the same product, competition was fierce. Only the strongest survived. Yet, that very struggle drove progress, pushing innovation to new heights. So who were the victors? Who fell? And how did these titans build empires that seemed untouchable, despite every attempt to tear them down? Welcome to part 2 of our series on the power of money and the moguls who wielded it. Buckle up. This is a story of ambition, betrayal, and raw power. In our last episode, we learned about a bold dream, a bridge spanning the Mississippi River, a monumental task that seemed impossible. The biggest hurdle? Finding a material strong enough to hold it up. Back then, steel was rare, used only for small items like forks, knives, or decorations. No one had dared to use it for massive structures until one man changed everything. A British inventor, Henry Bessemer, revolutionized the game with a process that slashed steel production time from 2 weeks to just 15 minutes. Armed with this breakthrough, one ambitious industrialist saw his chance to build the bridge of his dreams. At just 33, Andrew Carnegie was ready to take on the impossible. Building the first major bridge across the Mississippi was no small feat. Using steel was a gamble. It was untested and wildly expensive. After 2 years of meticulous planning, Carnegie began construction, but costs spiraled out of control, stalling progress. Refusing to give up, he fought tooth and nail to keep the project alive. The budget ballooned, draining his funds, but Carnegie was relentless. Desperate, he pitched to investors. "Gentlemen, the bridge is on track and I'm confident steel is the future. We'll need another $1 million by year's end, but when this bridge is complete, it'll be the 8th wonder of the world." His passion paid off. After 4 grueling years, the bridge stood tall. A stunning triumph that connected America like never before. This victory opened floodgates of demand for Carnegie's steel. His biggest client? The railroad industry, which he knew inside out. Railroads were hungry to replace their aging bridges and tracks with steel, but Carnegie couldn't keep up with the orders. He needed to scale up, fast. With the help of his mentor, Tom Scott, he secured over 21 million, hundreds of millions in today's dollars, and built a massive steel plant outside Pittsburgh. Spanning 40,000 square meters, Carnegie Steel became the nation's largest, churning out 225 tons of steel daily. This wasn't just a factory. It was a powerhouse that fueled America's growth and made Carnegie richer than ever. But the railroads, after years of explosive growth, hit a wall. Too many companies, not enough cargo. Profits tanked, and even Tom Scott, Carnegie's mentor, couldn't adapt. Enter John D. Rockefeller, who saw opportunity in the railroad's struggles. Scott, drowning in debt, leaned on Rockefeller's oil wealth to survive, but it wasn't enough. His empire crumbled, a stark reminder that even pioneers could fall if they weren't strong enough. Carnegie lost his mentor, a blow that hardened his resolve. With railroads faltering, Carnegie faced losing a key market for his steel. Desperate, he pivoted to a new trend: skyscrapers. As jobless Americans flocked to cities like New York and Chicago, buildings shot upward to house the growing population. Carnegie's steel beams became the backbone of these towering structures. In Chicago alone, over 100,000 new buildings rose in just a few years, transforming America's skyline. Carnegie's steel empire soared, making him one of the richest men in the country. Yet he wasn't satisfied. Rockefeller's fortune was 7 times larger, and Carnegie burned with a desire to surpass him, not just for wealth, but to avenge his fallen mentor. To outdo Rockefeller, Carnegie needed an edge. He turned to Henry Frick, a ruthless self-made millionaire by 30 and the Midwest's top coal supplier. Known for getting what he wanted at any cost, Frick was the perfect weapon. Carnegie hired him to slash costs and boost profits, a move hailed as genius. Frick renegotiated supplier contracts with an iron fist, cutting waste while ramping up production. By the decade's end, Carnegie Steel was raking in unprecedented profits. But Rockefeller's oil empire still loomed larger, and Carnegie's ambition came at a cost. To keep production costs low, Carnegie needed to squeeze every penny. The only way? Cut wages and extend work hours. Unwilling to be the villain, he left the dirty work to Frick, who had no qualms about crushing dissent. Frick demanded 12-hour shifts, 6 days a week, creating brutal conditions. Workers, exhausted and underpaid, grew restless. Tensions boiled over when a worker died from overwork, sparking outrage. Fearing a strike, Frick, backed by Carnegie, refused to negotiate. When 2,000 workers barricaded the plant, Frick called in the Pinkerton Agency, hired guns known for breaking strikes. The clash turned deadly. Gunfire erupted, leaving 9 workers dead and countless injured. The governor of Pennsylvania sent in the National Guard to restore order. The fallout was catastrophic. Frick survived an assassination attempt, returning to work just 3 days after being shot and stabbed. Carnegie, abroad during the chaos, rushed back to Pittsburgh. Furious at Frick's handling of the situation, he distanced himself, whispering to reporters that things would have been different had he been there. Betrayed, Frick plotted to undermine Carnegie's steel from within. But a bigger threat loomed. J.P. Morgan, a banking titan who built billions by consolidating failing industries. Morgan's latest obsession? Electricity. Morgan saw the future in Thomas Edison's electric light bulb, a technology poised to rival fire or the wheel. He invested heavily, installing electric lights in his New York mansion, the first private home in the world lit by electricity. With $83 million, in today's dollars, Morgan and Edison founded the Edison Electric Light Company, building the world's first power station in Manhattan. Thousands of homes glowed, and New York's streets sparkled with electric streetlights. Rockefeller, whose oil lit America's lamps, felt the heat. Every electric bulb meant one less oil customer. He fought back with a smear campaign, branding electricity as dangerous, even deadly. But the public wasn't buying it. Then came Nikola Tesla, a young genius obsessed with electricity. Unlike Edison's direct current DC, Tesla's alternating current AC was more efficient but deemed riskier. Edison dismissed Tesla, seeing him as just another bright kid in his employ. Frustrated, Tesla quit, and with investor George Westinghouse, built a rival company. Tesla's AC demonstrations, passing high-voltage currents through his body, captivated audiences, proving AC's potential. When Westinghouse and Tesla won a contract to light the Chicago World's Fair with 200,000 bulbs, 27 million visitors witnessed a city electrified by AC. This triumph secured them the ultimate prize, powering the Niagara Falls power plant, the world's largest, generating 120,000 horsepower, more than all U.S. electricity combined. Morgan's dream of dominating electricity crumbled. He'd bet on Edison's DC, but AC was winning. Refusing to lose, Morgan pivoted ruthlessly. He bought out Edison's shares, ousting him and renaming the company General Electric. Shifting to AC, Morgan's firm became a global powerhouse worth $1 billion in today's dollars. With Rockefeller and Carnegie, Morgan joined America's most powerful men, their combined wealth exceeding $1 trillion in modern terms. But their rise came at a cost. While they amassed fortunes, 90% of Americans lived on less than $100 a month. Factory workers earned under $1 a day, far below a living wage. In steel mills, 1 in 11 workers died annually. The wealth gap fueled unrest, and in 1896, a politician from Nebraska, William Jennings Bryan, seized the moment. Promising to fight the tycoons and champion the poor, Bryan's campaign gained traction, threatening the moguls' empires. Rockefeller, Carnegie, and Morgan fought back, backing Ohio Governor William McKinley with over $60,000, $20 million today. Their campaign, the costliest in U.S. history, dwarfed Bryan's fivefold. They controlled newspapers, ran PR blitzes, and pressured workers to vote Republican, exploiting public ballots to monitor votes. As Election Day loomed, America split. Bryan's South and Midwest versus McKinley's wealthy Northeast. The nation held its breath. When the votes were counted, McKinley won, and the tycoons dodged a bullet. Their money had spoken, securing their grip on America. At Real World Channel, we've seen how wealth can shape a nation, driving progress but also division. These giants, Carnegie, Rockefeller, Morgan, built modern America, but at what cost? Their ambition fueled innovation, yet their power deepened inequality, sparking a fight that echoes today.